What is going on, guys? Samuel with this video, and welcome to the second video in my Ratchet Clank review series. Okay, so now I'm reviewing every single Ratchet Clank game that has been released. Anticipation for Ratchet Clank Rift Apart coming out very soon. Again, this is actually since I've been wanting to do ever since I started my YouTube channel, so I figured with new coming out, I figured now is the perfect time to review all these games. So yeah, I haven't played in a while, but I definitely still haven't much about them, but I did review the first one on my channel if you have not checked that out. But now it's time to review the beloved sequel, and that is, which actually, they actually did start a couple months before the first one was even released actually, so it's like they knew they had sets on their hands, so they had to get something right away, so that's actually an interesting fact, in case you guys know, but today I'm going to discuss Ratchet and Clank Go Commando, which is the second installment in this franchise, and again, this and the next game of the Arsenal games that really truly define my childhood. Like these other two games, games I pretty much have played and gone through honestly the most. Growing up, I think it's my first Ratchet game I've actually ever played, and I still play this game a lot to this day. So let's just get, of course, there will be spoilers. I've time lots in that discussion with this video, so you've been warned. So let's get back. Let's go Commando. You guys have a review, hit that like button, subscribe if you do want to see more content. So not be on the bush. Let's discuss Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. First up, the story. Yeah, this is the story of Ratchet and Clank takes place like 6 months around after the events of the first one, in which Ratchet and Clank pretty much become part balloon from the events of the first game, and then no one sure what to do now. Then they called it by Mr. Fizzwidget. You know, it's rescued this thing called the Protopedal, called the Experiment, which is called the Protopet. And what Ratchet ends up doing is, Clank doesn't agree on the first, he ends up going when he gets kidnapped. And kidnapped by the thief who's trying to get this experiment as well. And they found these on the scene as Mr. Finchwick, and it's very weird. He ends up actually being a girl, Angela, who actually used to work in Corp, trying to fix the flaws and all that. Also the bugs the last guys. And upon learning that Captain Quark has been involved in all of this and trying to basically frame Ratchet and Clank cause the whole Protopet being insane and trying to cure it, but of course it backfires and they end the same day again. Yep, so the stories, Ratchet Clank has never been truly viable in the stories, but they know what they're going for, and they know how it's still interesting to have some actual stakes to the stories, and this is definitely going to be part of the best story. In terms of the story of these first 3 of the original games, this is definitely the best. Definitely gets on the best stories in the franchise, but in terms of the original games, it is definitely part of the best one. Honestly, if I think about it, because man, there's really a lot of love on the story, a lot of the humorous moments that happens, a lot of the Ratchet and Clank. Mr. Fizzwidget is hilarious. Captain Quark is as far as he's always been. And all, of course, different characters you meet throughout, like the fanboy, the plumber, and Angela, a lot of different interesting characters you meet. Anyways, the story overall is pretty engaging, and a lot of moments I still especially a lot of the hilarious cutscenes, like this last line websites where you had to pay like 10,000 bolts to watch it, because oh my, not even the computers are charging us? That's it. This galaxy blows. Touch him and his plasma city. Well, this what happened to you? Oh, this what happened love. And I need it delivered. So why is Billy sad? Is he cold, hungry, or just no, lonely? No! Help! Police! so many classic cutscenes and lines from this game that I still remember randomly to this very day. Like, oh my god, so many memorable scenes in this game. It's like, oh my god. But anyway, but overall, Growing Commando, this is a game that pretty much does what any sequel really should do. It takes everything that worked about the first game and improves upon it. There's few more tricks, there's a few more issues, and again, there's still a certain portion of the game where you do have the grind for bolts, but it isn't as tedious as the first game, at least. Okay, it isn't as tedious trying to get bolts in the first game, at least. Well, the grind bolts is definitely a lot more fun to explain how more expansive the worlds are and how more worlds there are and all that, and what each chapter actually collects. So yeah, there's nothing to worry about that. Anyway, I mentioned the graphics are more vibrant and all that, and of course you can also strafe in this game, which that wasn't an issue in the first game. Was always been an issue in the first game, and it's definitely great they fixed that here. And also this weapon, you can actually upgrade your weapons. And there's one time, but you at least can make these weapons more usable at least, so that's definitely good. And of course, not every weapon's and if you also do have a save file from the first game, you can actually buy a lot of weapons from the first game, actually, like the Bomb Glove, Tentacle Claw, and all that. And I mean, it's fortunate they don't get upgraded, unfortunately, but it's definitely fun to use. But it's definitely interesting if you want some weapons from the previous game, so I'll give them that for that. So it's definitely interesting. I was like, oh, that's definitely interesting. I'm not gonna lie on that. Not going to lie on that. But anyway. And of course, like games, you can explore different planets, where each planet has a lot of different portions, where you can explore scenarios to try and get the team pools, which you can actually use to buy mods in this game. It's not a previous game, Gold Pools mainly used to buy pool weapons in challenge mode. Here you can use them to buy mods for your weapons. And of course, you got the space missions, you got some Ratchet Clank battles, and you got some also with the addition to arena battles. But has become pretty much a staple from a lot of which has pretty much become a staple of pretty much all the other games of the franchise going forward. Which I'm definitely not complaining. Yeah, so let's talk about a lot of aspects. What's up with space missions? Now, a lot of stuff. Now, I've always heard a lot that I'm going to come out of the space missions are always some of the weakest parts of Commando. So some people say the space missions are definitely the worst aspect or the most hated aspect of Commando from lots of views and videos I've seen about Commando. And I can definitely understand why. I can definitely see why. But for me, I always loved them. I kind of feel it's kind of how I feel about the Clank sections. And like I said, they're not my favorites. But I like going back to you. But not that I'm dreading either. Though I do find it a lot more fun, and they're always something to go back to. I mean, it is a little bit grinding. It had always great for Antanium to work with weapons, especially when you had to use this. So when you had to use this vehicle and some plans where you can do grind for Antanium for upgrade your weapons and you can upgrade your ship. Honestly, when you do upgrade your ship, it actually is a lot more fun when you upgrade your ship and all that. And it's more annoying when these ring challenges and it's main challenges, especially if you have to go through all of them and get Titanium. Well, that's always something that's always, I don't say annoyed me, but something I'm always not looking to come back to, honestly. But again, I still enjoy it. I still enjoy the space missions in this game. I can definitely understand why people like them, but me, I always enjoyed them. Hell, same giant clay stations here, and there was only two in this game. Actually, one on playing double, which you have to use to get the second arena portion. It's like the double let's go, and of course, hey, remember us? Of course, the only number part is when if you try to get if you want to get the skill point, you have to beat him with melee. Oh, and that's kind of a bit annoying, but it's actually a lot more fun. It's actually a lot of fun, and there's also when you get definitely planning if you want to get some item. I think it was Mathematic. Was it Mathematic? And also, I'll mention now these helpback sections you can also go through in this game as well. And again, I used to always hate these type of sections. Again, it's because I've never been the big fan of racing, honestly. I don't know if I mentioned this on my channel in the first video that I'm not really the biggest fan of racing. And it's not that I don't hate them, it's that they're not really my thing. It's just not really thing. It's just racing. Again, I don't hate racing, obviously. It's just not really my thing. It's just not that I've always hit for. But I actually love the Harbor Bridges this game, honestly. Actually, all loving to do actually, honestly, once you get the hang of it. And it's weird if someone that's not really the hugest in racing, then definitely that's one of the few racing sections I actually do enjoy, honestly. So I definitely a lot more improved, especially from the hoverboard sections in the first game, which I think I said I did enjoy, but again, something I'm not really looking forward to go back to. But however, it's actually a lot of fun actually to do, honestly. And there are two portions in use, then one in Barlow and one in Joba, which is the second arena plan, where you be like a choice boots. And I used to not always enjoy them. Right now, how sometimes I'm going by used to always have my brother do them for me, but I actually do enjoy them now. I actually do enjoy them. And also the biggest for this game is definitely the difficulty and the more nanotech. Is that also nanotech is also upgradable when you more use weapons and all that, or when you feed more enemies. You know, all these little nanotechs, and you can always find to upgrade nanotech as well. And so, which I thought was also an interesting touch. And this game is definitely a little more difficult, but it isn't like frustratingly difficult. I mean, there are always portions where I always end up dying a lot on, but they're not at the point of frustration like in the first game, honestly, so I'll definitely give them that. And the character matches are always great as well. Again, I always love the interactions between Ratchet and Clank. They're always so fun. I love a lot of the interactions they have together. And again, a lot of different characters to me are always fun, unique, and all that. Something I always really love Ratchet Clank is that how interesting a lot of different characters you meet during these planets are always so interesting and so fun. It's always so fun. It's a lot of different always good in that. And also Angela's also pretty character. It's fortunate we never got to see Angela after this game. And anyway, they do kind of explain it a little bit in Greater Time, which is something that a lot of people wouldn't really, because about the whole Almax thing. But we'll get into that when we talk about Greater Time. But yeah, it's always an interesting character. And I like her interactions with Ratchet and Clank. Like, and kind of quirky has always been. It's just hilarious. This video was hilarious. A lot of the characters are funny as well. But of course, let's talk about the weapons. Let's talk about the weapons. And simply, this game is definitely up there as part of the best weapon options on the entire game. They really just took one of these weapons first game, pretty much just boom up them. Because other than the last one, I pretty much enjoy every other weapon in this game. Everyone begin. This game definitely has some of my favorite weapons in the entire franchise. Other than the last one when I did my gun ranking, all weapons in this game are pretty much so much fun to use. And always so great. Again, a couple of kind of PNS to level up, but they're always so fun to use. And again, you can upgrade the ones, and then when you in the challenge mode, you can buy the mega versions, where you can upgrade them again to get into ultra versions. Again, ultra versions, that was actually a nice touch. You get sort of like 19 made weapons in this game, and also get more gadgets in this game as well, like with the dynamo, the Terminator, the tractive beam, a lot of different gadgets that are really fun to use. And of course, you also got the arena battles as well, which have become a big staple in the franchise. And like first one side just beats a bit all over the place. Again, not really used to stuff, and I really am so I love talking about this franchise. So sorry, my feel it's just a bit all over the place, but yeah. But anyway, and this pretty much happened. Still in the franchise for a lot of games. How they made a game based on the last aspect, but we'll get into that later. But we'll definitely get into that later. And it's not interesting why they end up coming as Steel Plants, because they're all a lot of fun to do, especially a lot of the interesting names to do, and they're all a lot of fun, but they're trying to get bold, they're trying to be enemies. Especially not on Nebula, of course you get a guy who's tested this guy. Man, a lot of them are always fun, especially when you play Chain Blade and beat your brawler. Beat the brawler again, the skill point is kind of a bit pain when you beat him out of damage. Chain Blade is just, oh my god. Especially how he goes out like, whoa. And then you get to play in Joba and a lot of fun, especially when he announced that Ratchet Clank as the metal guy. And you also have to do these cage matches, which are also a lot of fun. The game was all in general, all fun. Anyways, so now let's get into my usual gun and planet rankings. Oh wait. I didn't talk about the planets first. The planets are definitely a huge upbringing from previous games. They're all, every level is pretty much a lot of fun to go to. But yeah, and I love how every level is always so unique and so different one another. They're not just like same old, same old. They have their own unique personality to them. This one, definitely wasn't easy trying to pick which one was my favorite, honestly. And eventually, when all the games, I'm gonna do like an overall best of worst planets and guns for the entire franchise. So, don't know that, but here's how I make all 21 main levels. First one, we got the Watchpot Nebula, which is basically you have to go to through. We're gonna Nebula. I'm not sure if I want to count that though. So, I think my real worst level in the game is probably Huge Clerks, one of the ship levels. I guess some of the levels are on the bottom, but I still do really enjoy them. Or done in 19 double. I think still for that freaking nanotech thing you get from the glider, but it's still a pretty fun level, honestly. Then you got the Gorn, which is another ship level, which that was great. That was pretty fun. Snickly is also really great, though that boss level with Douglas does take way too long, and something I always don't feel because of how long it usually takes to beat him. Because if you have to fight this giant, that's all the time you have to fight that giant third boss, then you can't survive the majority of the game. And you have to try and hit him with turrets and all that, and it takes way too long. That's something that's also always bugging me, honestly. Then you also get the filter system, which will be fun to get to play in arenas, which you actually, the first one you actually go to, but you end up going back to that later. After you get arrested for harming Mr. Fizz Widget, and of course, that's also the second Clank section, time to play as Clank in the game, where you have to also get for these unique gadget bots as well, which, and Clank levels are not really my favorites, but not ones I'm dreading either, though. Some that do break up the pace a bit, but in a good way. And also he gets the third wrench, which I thought, and how he does it, just like, hilarious. Then get to Macron Nebula, the arena fight, which was always fun to spoil, especially with the whole arena fight, and you have to go for this other area where you have to go for these like we have to use your wrench to spin around and try to shorten these nodes. Like, then there's Planet Uzla, the first real planet you go to, which is one where you also get the dynamo in that level as well, and tractor beam. Actually fun gadgets to use eventually. And you also get it's also where you actually also get the box breaker, which you use to break everything, and which you use to just break everything. And so a skill point in the Nebula and Uzla where you can break everything, which is always a lot of fun to do. But dude, the boss is definitely a bit of pain though. Then you get to Planet Anko, which is the plane you go to when you also like to start this boss, and also we get your swing shot grinding boots as well, and also with Planet Clank and reunite him as well. And you also have this crane section, which is you can grab this crane and just kind of consume things, and all that. Also a skill point in which you can basically kill enemies with it and all that. And there's Planet Barlow, the this level has the first hurtback thing, and also you get the Dominator as well. Then you get to Siberius, which is also a pretty fun snow level. We actually fight the Deep, which isn't too difficult, but it's still a pretty fun boss fight. And you also get second refight in Joba, in which it also has second up big race, and also the second arena portion level. And it's also a pretty fun level to explore. Then you get to play in Dance Mode, which is a frequency level where you have this grind section, and when you get one of the parts of this hidden nomadic part, this is a lot of fun extension with actually kind of reenact the whole Jack Master thing from the first game, because this was released around time when the first Jack came out, so that was hilarious. You also get the second giant Clank level as well, which is also a lot of fun. As well as especially being all this pro pass, which still you never actually fight after this though. Go then. And then playing Bulletin, we also have these fun levitate sections also, and then get together we basically have to do more fun jetpack section, and you gotta try to be careful how you do it and all that, which is definitely more fun actually, which I actually get used to, and honestly, also where you also get captured and arrested, and you also have this fun round section, and it's also where you actually find the Sonic Museum actually. There's also the introduction of the Sonic Museum, in which when you find it, you can basically go to certain, when you explore, you can basically look at certain things that end up being cut from the game. Which is something kind of done in a few other games. They've done that in Up Your Arsenal, they've done that in Crack in Time. I think a couple other games I just don't remember at the moment, but and they've done at least in Up Your Arsenal Crack in Time after this. Then you get the Totano, and Besides, we also get the Sheepinator as well, and also final enemies, and it's a very fun level to explore, and so especially these school enemies that are just. Then you get to play Gremlin, which is another snow level. It's also a level where you can also get moonstones, which is also there's usually always a portion in most of these games, and when you play where like find certain items, and when you find them, the more you can trade for bolts, and the moonstones, along with another portion plan I'm getting to later. But Gremlin is definitely a fun snow level. However, the Yetis can be kind of a pain, and it's when the frame rate can kind of get pretty shaky at times, but on that level I always thought it'd be very memorable. And you also get the I'm now typically the final level in the game as well. And we basically compose everything you learn in the game, and also use every gadget you have in the game, which does make everything a little more useful, at least, so I give it at least. It's also great. It's also one of my favorite final levels in any game, honestly. So it has a lot of XP levels, honestly, but so number 3 probably has Smoke, which is an amazing factory level. That's also always one of my favorites to explore, especially the left-hand portions and the different enemies you find, and how explorable it is, and a lot of the different cutscenes you have. Like, it's a fun level. And then you got the desert level, Tabora, which is a really fun great desert level. One's also my favorite. It also has the glider section when you get the glider, which it's definitely my least favorite gadget in the game, but it's one I've gotten used to the more I use it. I think probably my favorite actually go to play in Notak, which is the city level. I don't know, it's always been the most memorable to me growing up, so that's probably why, how I send the levels probably be me order. I'm putting basically it'll go Washboard Nebula, Hughes Cloud, Double, Gorn, Sneaklack, Franson System, Aeronos, Meta Nebula, Uza, Enko, Barlow, Siberia, Shoba, Desmo, Molden, Tano, Gremlin, Ely, Smoke, Tabor, and Notak. Now talk about the weapons. I guess there are a total of 19 weapons in the game, if you're not, of course, counting the weapons you get from the. I think my least favorite definitely would be the Clank Zapper, which basically just Clank zapping enemies. That's really it, so that's probably what I'm not really a fan of in this game, so. Everyone's playing more times these one couple weapons that we like. I mean, not every weapon's gonna be a hit, obviously, but I still don't hate it, honestly. Then basically I'll be number 19 the bottom, 18 probably the Sheepinator, which I basically the Black Sheepinator, which basically she explodes. Then I got the Spider-Bug Glove, which basically is a spider you can use to just control and use and explode enemies, and then you upgrade Tape Bug Glove, which you can use to shoot enemies, like. Then the Huff Bomb Gun, which is basically just and you upgrade to the Tetra Bomb Gun, which basically is like 3 or 5 more bombs you can throw at enemies. Then the 15 probably that Lancer, which basically is the first weapon you get. You can to the Heavy Lancer, but it's like then the second weapon you also get Gravity Bomb, which is too nuke. Then the next one first weapon you can buy is a Chopper, which basically is a throwing star weapon, and then you upgrade to the multi-star, which you can up only more stars at once, and just floats around and all that, which it's always fun to use. Then the Stiffer Noise basically is just robot cannons that you can shoot enemies and enemies, and then we did the Kill Noise, which does a lot more damage and all that. Then the Lava Gun, and which basically uses lava, and you can wait to the minigun, which goes. Then number 10 probably the Pulse Rifle, which is one of my favorite rifles in this franchise, which is basically the Vaporizer. Then the Zodiac basically is kind of like a supernova. Doesn't upgrade much, but it's definitely always fun to use. And then the Shield Charger, which basically the shield that helps you with health and all that. Then it upgrades to the Tesla Barrier as well. Also one thing I have to mention is also when challenge mode. Oh, I got challenge mode later, but then you have the Mini Rocket Shield, which is rocket. Then it upgrades to make a rocket cannon, which you can hold on and you can shoot like 4 at once. Then the Secret Gun, which basically it's basically shooting alongside just enemies you hit at. They got the K-22 gun, which even though which might end up lists 5 ammo when you upgrade it, it shoots like 3 at once. Then you get the meteor glove, which is basically shoot 2 on the then you upgrade to the mega turtle, it's just then number 4 probably the blitz gun. Okay, so the blitz gun. Then I think actually would be the Rhino 2 actually. Then my top 2, which most likely probably be my top 2, which spoiler might actually be my top 2 when I do my actual weapons list. I'm going to do the plasma coil, which is just shoot like electric ball of electricity towards enemies. And the plasma storm basically does a bigger ball of electricity. Then my favorite weapon in the game is easily the bouncer, such a heavy bouncer. Like, which we said they always need the best weapon in this franchise, and I really don't want to see why. Until this game to be somewhat in my top 5 intended weapons, just I'd be able to why for that, but yeah, again, sometimes I feel all over the place, but I'm still talking about this game. And you can also beat the game and play for challenge mode, in which you can upgrade your weapons once again. And you also have this multiplier, which the less you take damage, the more bolts you can gain. So that was actually a pretty nice touch, and they pretty much are doing this for aspect games down the road. And you also get all weapons you team from your previous playthrough. But I think that covers it. Sorry if these videos are probably all over the place because I just really love talking about these games so much. But overall, Ratchet Clank Commando is easily one of my favorites in this franchise. It's a game that pretty much takes everything that you loved with the first game and just bumping it. Is the game perfect? No, it isn't. It does have a few minor annoyances, but it's one of the things where it has so many great qualities, so many excellent aspects to it in terms of story, gameplay, characters, amazing planets, some of the best in the entire franchise. Amazing weapon arsenal, great areas to explore, fun aspects to it. Has so much to really adore and digest to it that any of my annoyances I have are really just not really annoyances at the end of the day. I absolutely adore this game. This game is pretty much always been a favorite of mine growing up on, so I'm not like blind on nostalgia obviously because of that. Because I don't think this game's obviously perfect. I don't think any of the games really truly perfectly interesting about it, but I don't know, Commando is either one of my most replayable games in this franchise, and one of the games I played the most in general. It's a game I always cherish so much and deeply to my heart. It's pretty much for example how you do a sequel right. Your sequel right, and it accomplishes everything is to see that it's one of the most fun entertaining games I've ever played, one of the most replayable games, and yeah, and it's basically up there as one of my favorites in the franchise, so I'm definitely going to give Ratchet Clank Going Commando a 5 out of 5. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed discussing Ratchet Clank Going Commando. I would love to know down in the comment section below what are your thoughts on the sequel, how would you rank the entire franchise. I'll love the comment section down below. Next few weeks I'll definitely be excited to talk about Ratchet Clank up your arsenal, and hopefully maybe soon I can actually try to play Devil Lock. I actually hope I can try to do that. Because I haven't played the game in a long time, I want to get myself refreshed on the game, so hopefully I can play that soon so I can review that for you guys. So I'm going to enjoy the guy. I did read the first one and watch that out. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I truly honestly appreciate. If you haven't already, be sure to like this video, be sure to share and subscribe, be sure to follow all my social media sites, all in the description down below. I am Samuel Warren, welcome to Samuel Reviews. I will see you next time. As always, stay cool, everybody. Peace.